As Peter mentioned, I'm senior editor at the JOC, and one of my main areas of coverage is container rail. So I was very fortunate earlier this year to tour Canadian National Railway's new Calgary area Intermodal Terminal and Logistics Park. The $220 million terminal handled roughly 220,000 units last year and has already secured a tenant at its logistics park, but they're not telling me who it is. The investment and healthy container traffic in the Calgary area reflects a company that understands that it takes more than clever branding saying global supply chain provider to become an actual one. And CN has shown that through its cooperation with the ports, carriers, and inland points that container service can hit that mark. And it has shown it in the billions of dollars it has invested in infrastructure, with roughly $1.9 billion to be spent this year. And CN has also aggressively sought matchback opportunities for its customers and provided shippers better access by opening up ramps in Joliet, Illinois, and Indianapolis. This approach, along with an operational strategy that has consistently kept CN as the most profitable Class I railroad in North America, should be kept in mind during these harsh winters that have slowed traffic, because that's when it really matters. Here to give you a better understanding of CN's network and the challenges and opportunities that the railroad faces is CN President and CEO Claude Mongeau. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, and congratulations, Barry, on that special recognition. I think they kept the tomatoes for me. I received an invitation from the JOC several months ago in the fall to come to this venue. And I have to say, this is the place. If you're trying to connect with the global container trade, this is the venue. And so I quickly accepted, thinking we have momentum, our supply chain collaboration agenda is really clicking, it's resonating with customers. So I'll have an opportunity in March, beautiful sunny Los Angeles to tell our story and expand a little bit, give you a sense of what we're working on. Well, that was October. Came January, pretty brutal winter. I was watching operations and the trends and some of the difficulties we faced, and I looked at my calendar every month. I look a month ahead, and I said, what's that March 3rd event at TPM? And then February came, not much easier in terms of winter. So I have to say I started to have second thoughts. Can I talk about supply chain collaboration and all the things we're doing without facing up to the adversity that we've been dealing with? And I'm a big boy. I know you have tomatoes, so I'm going to try to do a little bit of both. I'm going to try to tell you something about what we're doing, but also take some time to explain to you the impact of this brutal winter on transportation in general, but also for railroads in particular and CN. There's nothing like being here to do that, and I will leave time for questions at the end. So first, a few words on CN. As some of you know, CN was a bit of the odd man out only 20 years ago, 19 years ago, when we were still a crown corporation. We were a bit of a laggard in the industry, very Canadian-centric network, and being government-owned, we're not the most innovative company. But over the last 20 years, we've had quite a remarkable business transformation. Coming from a crown corporation to, in many ways, leading the industry in such a short period is no small feat, and that's what CN was able to do. There were three legs to that journey. First, the IPO days, becoming a privately owned company or a publicly traded company. The expansion, the vision of becoming the best in North America, and the expansion to take our network from Canada deep into the US. That was the first leg of that journey. The second leg was the focus on effectively changing our business model to turn our attention to railroad efficiency. We called it precision railroading, scheduled railroading, and it allowed us to leap against the competition in terms of raw efficiency metrics, which in transportation is actually very good, because if you can move containers, if you can move assets faster in transportation, time to market from A to B is actually a fundamental driver of value for customers. It helps with asset utilization, but it also helps with service improvement. If you have the full package, if you actually focus also on the customer touch points, if you put yourself in the shoes of your customers, if you invest in understanding your operation and how it impacts the customers that you serve. And that's the third leg of the journey. Taking that beautiful franchise of CN, that three-coast network, taking that efficiency that we work so hard to get to, and turning all of that to become what I call a supply chain enabler, a true service-oriented company that is in business to help its customers win. Those are the three legs. I represent the third leg. I've been at this job here as a leader for 4 years, and I have to say our strategy is working well, and the strategy and the fit of our franchise works best with the global container trade or the overseas business. That beautiful network allows our customers, the shipping line, and their customers, those who own the cargo and move it with us, to come at North America from the Suez Canal to the east, from the Asia into the West Coast, increasingly from North America, from Latin America back up to North America through the Gulf of Mexico. That three-coast network allows us to offer a lot, and it's a very, very strong foundation of what we have to offer. But it's not enough. The footprint is not enough. You have to have vision, you have to have leadership, and you have to have a constant focus on innovation. And that's what we've been able to deliver at CN. From railroad efficiency to operational and service excellence, from hub to hub constructs, looking at railroad, at trains as opposed to single cars or single containers, to more and more a first mile, last mile focus. From being a great railroad to becoming a true supply chain enabler. That innovation, and I was planning to spend 20 minutes unveiling it in more detail, is what is driving CN. And that agenda of innovation is what is propelling us forward. But I will leave a little bit of time to talk about winter. Let me stop on this chart, which is perhaps the most important one. Becoming a true supply chain enabler is our agenda. But I firmly believe that it's in many ways a playbook that applies to everyone in this room. What we're trying to do at CN equally applies to a freight forwarder, to a shipping line, to anybody who is in this global container trade business. This notion of working to build stronger supply chain collaboration brings value, whether it's service or efficiency, wherever you are in this exciting space. It certainly is at CN. We have started this agenda. It's now across all our lines of business, bulk, carload, all of them. But it really started, it really took hold first in the intermodal business. We started by having port framework collaboration agreements from coast to coast in Canada. We have one now with every port on our network. We took it down to the terminal operators that we partner with, 9 of them that have service level agreements that are designed to codify how we come together to provide shipping lines and their customers a good service. They're not that complicated. At the end of the day, it's about the precious few metrics that bring us together, not silo metrics, not railroad metrics, not terminal metrics, metrics that look at it the way a customer would. Dwell time, glowing boxes, how fast, how efficiently. Those few metrics, if you have too many when you're trying to deal across organizations, you're probably going to sink in complexity. If you have too few, you're probably at risk of not optimizing all the right trade-offs. Deciding on which one are key is not a science, it's an art. But once you have a recipe and you apply it consistently, you have a good thing going, because the precious few metrics become the basis of daily engagement. Daily engagement breeds more collaboration. You allow people on the ground looking at the same metrics to problem solve jointly on the go. Not about what happened last week or last month, but what happened today or yesterday or increasingly tomorrow and next week. That framework of collaboration agreement has been in place in Intermodal for us for now more than 3 years, almost 4 years. And it's starting to develop into what I would call an ecosystem of collaboration. That's just an additional layer of richness. You go to richer end-to-end visibility that allows you to pinpoint boxes. You go from data on what we do today to a capability of understanding how the data connects and what we need to do capacity planning or tactical capacity decisions. To the most important, which is deeper mutual trust. When a system works, when you gain enough mutual respect and enough understanding of what you're each other trying to achieve, you gain mutual trust. And mutual trust is the bound for great things. Mutual trust works. It can be tested. But trust me, mutual trust works also in a tough winter like what we're facing this year. So that supply chain enabling construct, I believe, is how CN has been able to differentiate its service. That's why we're working and gaining market share one box at the time and are building new relationship in this exciting space. It's working because it's a bit of a foundational initiative. It's a gift that keeps on giving. If you keep at it with faith, you get to higher and higher level of collaboration. It goes from the top to the floor, and it leads eventually to ideas you didn't know would be possible when you were working side by side, looking at different metrics. Having this approach operationally can be layered on a commercial basis or a more strategic level to innovate, to effectively bring market innovation that creates win-win opportunity. And that's where CN is evolving. We want to leverage the strength of our relationship with supply chain partners on the ground, operationally, to get to a point where we have more seamless go-to-market approach. At CN, we call it selling one CN, taking the complexity out, selling all of our products, and doing it with fewer disconnects inside even CN. When you apply that seamless go-to-market to a supply chain, you do joint selling with your partners. Or I was with one of our recent very important customers, or you come together to actually explain to our joint customers what is happening, what are the issues we're facing. Selling together, explaining together, getting better, fighting together when it's what it takes. Seamless go-to-market approaches that are simpler, more integrated, is the way of the future. It's not easy, but it's a good playbook. Extending our reach. In the railroad term, it's your footprint. In other spaces, it might be services, adjacencies. In our case, extending our network reach means adding terminal, because we understand that you are growing the size of your ships. You need more outlets. We need to follow our shipping line customers, and we need to follow their customers by offering more destination, deeper reach. Round trip thinking. Round trip thinking is one of the core innovation at CN. Round trip thinking is not just for railroads to help shipping lines. Round trip thinking is about creating supply chains that allow us to use our assets the most effectively possible, create the most value possible in both directions so that we can create value and also restore profitability. It's about innovative matchmaking. How can we bring our assets and capabilities and make new configurations that are creating differentiated offering? We do that in spades at CN. We bring our customers in our carload franchise, link them up with our intermodal capability, use our shipping line customers' boxes, and create matchback opportunity from the Midwest back to Eastern Canada, or from the Midwest back to Western Canada. And if 2/3 of the journey is paid by someone, that's a box that's going to be more profitable round trip. But it takes connecting of the dots. It takes matchmaking. It takes partnerships to make it happen. It's not easy, but we have a number of initiatives. I was planning to give you many examples, but I'll leave you just with this idea that seamless go-to-market, extended network reach, round-trip thinking, innovative matchmaking is not just CN's agenda. It's working for us, but it should be a good playbook for many of you, especially our partners, to follow and work with us. This global container trade business is exciting, but we need to find new ways to create value if we want to continue to grow profitably. This is the confidence booster chart. The strategy is working. The playbook at CN has been delivering results. We have grown our intermodal franchise, and I use the overseas from the West Coast. This is the TPM convention. After all, I could have used another lane and seen growth that maybe not be quite as exciting, because this is one of our bright spots, but 16% compound annual growth in a mature market shows that it resonates. We have been, continue to be winning one box at a time with our partners. We're also onboarding new relationships. That's new shipping lines coming on board, working with CN. It's allowing us to go deeper into the US and grow with our partners. It's working. We're aiming to help our customers win, and it's working. Now, that doesn't mean we're not faced with challenges at times. And here's the second part of my speech. I'm going to try to keep it simple, but I feel the need to explain to all of you, especially those of you who are ultimately the user of our joint services, the terminals, the shipping lines, and the railroads, that we are facing this year a very brutal, very unusual winter situation. It is a very, very tough winter. And I've tried to come up with a way of expressing that visually. When it typically takes a few small section of a 2-month period, you explain things, and eventually, people are not always happy, but you move on to something else. When you have a winter like this year that extends over several weeks and doesn't stop, you run out of simple explanations. You have to go a little deeper and explain the underlying factor, what's driving the impacts that some of you are feeling. Well, if you look above here, you will see that there are normal winters and tougher winters. A normal winter has a number of snowfalls and a number of days with extreme cold temperatures. But typically those issues are isolated geographically, and they tend to be concentrated in a few periods through the period of, say, mid-December to mid-March. What we are facing this year is a lot of snow, more than at any time in the last 35 years at least, and a lot of extreme cold. This severity index that you see here, the top part is the winter of 2 years ago, 2011 and 12. You could see a few instances of a few corridors on CN with temperatures that are below minus 25 degrees. But very few peaking where most, if not all of our corridors are at that level of winter restriction because of extreme cold. This year, the winter started early December, and it's been non-stop with most of our corridors having temperature below minus 25. Now, below minus 25, for those of you who work in Fahrenheit, is about minus 13 degree in Fahrenheit. When it gets to minus 38, like it was actually this weekend in Saskatoon, it doesn't matter whether you're Fahrenheit or Celsius, the two scales meet. When you have minus 30 degree temperature, I'll explain to you in a minute, railroading becomes a very, very difficult outdoor activity. We're not alone. It's not just CN. All other railroads that have a little bit of activity in the winter, in the upper part of the U.S. and into Canada have been impacted the same. It's not just railroads. It's also airlines. I had the Times Magazine come to my rescue just before this conference. They came out with this great story. You should all get a copy. I think our people are going to give them out as you come out. 40,000 flight cancellation in the U.S. in January. More than ever in history. 4 times more flight cancellations in January alone than the last 4 years. I was in about 4 of them. Pearson, our hub airport in Toronto, they had to shutter down for a day and a half in the middle of January. They had to shut down Pearson. Trucking is a very resilient mode of operation. You got a human attached to the load. Eventually he gets hungry. So loads ultimately get to destination. But because it's more difficult, you have less capacity, and not every load gets an appointment. All the transportation have been equally impacted. And the other people that came to my rescue are the National Weather Service. Now, I didn't expect that one, but they came up recently with what they call an AWSSI. It's the Accumulated Weather Severity Index. They say they add up records for snowfall, wind, and extreme cold. Some are calling it the Winter Misery Index. Cities like Detroit are hitting the roof on that index, worst in history. Chicago, second worst in history. Minneapolis, 4th worst in history. They don't do it in Canada. I wish they did. I'm going to get somebody at Environment Canada to do it. But I can tell you one thing, Saskatoon and Winnipeg, you have to go back to 1893 to have a colder month of December in Winnipeg. You have to go back to 1955 to have a colder month of January in Saskatoon. That's the kind of very tough winter we face. And it goes deeper. We had freezing rain in New Orleans. We had snowstorms in Atlanta. We have a polar vortex, and it's impacting all of North America in a way that is very unusual. My people, I've been at CN for 20 years. I've never seen anything like this. My people tell me, the ones that have more experience, Jim Venn, a 35-year veteran, they have to go back to 1978, 79. They remember that vaguely 35 years ago. That's the one winter they remember that was close to what we faced this year. So maybe it's wishful thinking, but I'm thinking about this winter as a one winter in a career. Here's what happens to railroads when you have, especially the cold winter, because there's really two factors. There's the outdoor challenge. That's the extreme cold. How do you ride a point at minus 50-degree wind chill for a mile and a half at the end of a train? How do you do it safely? How do you protect your employee from getting hurt? How do you get taxis to show up on time? How do you make sure people are not calling sick? All the issues that comes with snow clearing and normal weather, we all face that. That's the outdoor challenge. Railroads, I will say, deal with that very well. We're more outdoor than most, but we deal with outdoor challenge. We suck it up, and our people are tough. It does have impact on our operation. More equipment failures, more disruption, things of that nature that tends to have an impact. But it's not the peculiar aspect that people don't always understand. What's peculiar about railroads, all railroads, is when you have extreme cold weather, when you get to that minus 25 degree, our air brake system fails. We cannot get air from the front of the train to the back of the train to be able to safely brake. And so we have to shorten trains by as much as 30%, 25% if it's tier 1, 30, 35% if it's tier 2, and as much as 50 to 70% depending on the train series if it's a tier 3 situation, minus 30 degree and below. So the combination of outdoor challenge, reducing speed of the network, more repairs, disruption, and combined with the fact that we have at times to shorten our trains, reduce the train length by, on average, because not all our trains are long, 10 to 15%. Say year-to-date CN, 9% train speed reduction. At times, but that's most of the time, if you look at the chart below, reducing train length by 10 to 15%. Add the two, 9% less speed, 10 to 15% less train capacity, you have 20% plus reduction on your capacity. The little light blue bar is our network train speed. I want to tell you, we're not doing bad. Minus 9%, most of our peers in the rail industry have actually had train speed that deteriorated more than that. The other bar is industry dwell, and the blue stack bar in the back is a good proxy for what happens when you lose 20 to 25% of your capacity. Now that's in the carload business. I'll show you intermodal in a minute. But your cars have to be rolled. You don't have enough train capacity. You add trains, but you cannot add enough trains. You don't have enough locomotives and crews. And so you have to start rolling traffic, waiting for a better day to move the traffic. So your yards get more and more cars that are so-called old dates, that have been sitting in the terminal longer than, say, 32 hours. Look at how it climbed at CN to something like 14,000, 15,000 cars throughout the very cold period. If it's a normal winter, like the one I showed you a minute ago, you get tough weather for a couple days. You get good weather, you catch up. You get tough weather, you get backed up a little bit. Good weather, you catch up. Makes for a bumpy ride. You've all experienced it. But we go through it with impacts to service, but no cumulative impact that creates the kind of situation we're dealing with this year. If it's cold all the time, you get to a point where ground counts, if it's an intermodal, raise, and they stay high for a long time. Or car counts in yards, like you see on this chart, raise and stay high for a long time. That's what we've been dealing with, and the reason it's tough is because of those two factors. Now, fortunately, if I'm right, the chances of having such consistent and extended frigid polar vortex type temperature is low. Now, it happens every year, but it does not happen to this degree every year, at least if history is the guide. It's something, in my view, that has not happened since 35 years, maybe 50. The winter is not over. So we are talking not quite 100-year events, but definitely unusual conditions. Let's bring this home for intermodal. So what's car capacity? How do I feed global containers, or how do I feed MAR in Prince Rupert? I have a certain number of platform. I have a certain number of train in my grid. I have a speed of those trains. And my car supply capacity to my supply chain partner is a function of the number of platforms times the train footage times the speed of my network. In a nice day, when things are running reasonably well, we have at CN, that's all of our intermodal trains, roughly 75 trains in the grid. And they typically, if we're doing our job right, they're well spaced out. This is an actual chart from our RTBI network. And you have a fluid platform of intermodal platform, and they are moving at a pace of about 450 miles per day platform velocity. We anchor our plans on that basis. If you have outdoor challenges, equipment breakdown, more bad orders, you lose a few platforms. If you have outdoor challenges, making disruption, creating congestion on your network, you lose speed. That's an outdoor impact. If you have cold temperature, that's the killer. You have train length that goes down, and you'll see in a minute we add trains to compensate, but it gets to a point that our ability to add trains does not fully compensate, and we then get into a mode where we lose ground every day that it's extreme cold. That's on a nice day. Let's look at it on a frigid day of maybe it was March 1st in Saskatoon, or maybe it was sometime in January or February. Winter restrictions, that's anything below minus 25 degree, calls for shortening of those trains. That means in our intermodal grid, roughly 25 additional more trains. So we have to add many crews, many locomotives to move the same amount of traffic. More trains, more risks of congestion, and more trains in a grid that is bunched up creates impact on terminals as well. We are like our terminal partners on the waterfront. If the ships all arrive at the same time, or if the trains all arrive at the same time, you get bunching in key terminals like Chicago or Toronto or Detroit. And our speed gets down to, on days a little lower than that, but on average, on a very tough day, polar vortex type, in the range of 350 miles per day. So you have to add up about 20 to 25% more train. That trades off for the so-called 15-20% train length reduction, but the rest, the velocity and the other impacts that creep in make you lose every day 4 or 5% of throughput. Do that for a few days, catch up, you're okay. Get that consistently, like this winter, the winter of a career, and you have lots of service impact, ground count, increasing dwell time, getting above what's acceptable, and a lot of explaining to do like I'm doing today. I said to the same colleagues I was meeting earlier that understand operation, I said it's a little bit like having typhoon season, fighting big storms in sea, except you have them for 2 months. That's what we've been dealing with at CN this particular winter, and that's what other railroads have also been dealing with. Now, we're going to come out of this winter. Trust me, I think it's a winter of a career. At least I'm hoping for it. We are definitely staying with our strategy. I believe our strategy is weatherproof. We have the same level of engagement, the same end-to-end visibility, and the same degree of trust, even though it's tested at times in winter even in tough winters. Adversity brings the best out of partners. It's all about mutual support, mutual trust, helping each other, tactical planning. It's about learning as we fight to build resiliency, to improve next year, improve on locomotives, add to terminal capacity, do all the things that need to be done to build resiliency. And it's about also looking at the longer term issues, the structural issues, where are we in our capacity? Not just CN, but our terminal partners. Are we too close to capacity? Do we need to build resiliency? We are learning through this winter, and we will make investments together, I hope, to make sure that we minimize the risk of significant disruptions from winters that hopefully will be much tamer in the future. So again, we hope to come out of it stronger, and frankly, I believe that the global container trade space is very exciting. We're not getting discouraged by the setbacks. We are getting energized, and we have a job to do to rebuild our reputation. We have a job to do together to regain confidence of our customers. We have a lot of explanations to make. I hope this speech is being taped. You're going to be able to use them on YouTube. And we have a lot of hope to sell and a lot of specific action plans to detail, to explain what we're doing together to make it less probable that difficult situation like this come again. But let's make no mistake, winter is winter, and we should also do work helping our joint customers understand that in winter, we should have slightly different expectations. If we do 2.5, 3 days dwell in the summer, maybe it's safe to assume that winter can get tougher. Not anything like this year, but it's probably not safe to assume that everything clicks like when it's a sunny day. So building trust, regaining momentum, explaining our action plans, and setting expectation right to keep this exciting market going strong for CN and for all of you in this room is what I came here today on this sunny day to Los Angeles to say. And I see it. I believe that the way to get there is through supply chain collaboration, deeper, broader, and with a continued push on innovation to constantly add value so that we can win together as partners and we can help our customers win in their own markets. And with that, if there's any more time, I'm happy to get tomatoes or questions.